Hey folks, welcome back to the club. Today we have a very special episode, and it's going to be my first ever episode that I will be recording fully in English. And for those of you who are random viewers who just clicked in, well, this channel is primarily in Chinese. But today, due to the topic and theme, I'm going to be recording fully in English. Well, born and raised in China, China, right? I'm all too familiar with what we call brainwashing. And it's all based on the fundamental principle that if they take away your freedom of expression, then they slowly, while it's a slippery slope, right? So by taking away your freedom of expression and taking away your freedom of speech, they are slowly taking away your freedom overall. And slowly over time, right? Over a long period of time, the government can take away your freedom of thinking. Because by taking away your freedom of speech, by eliminating all the debates, discussions on topics, on any topic, right? Basically, the government will be able to create one true narrative. They're going to be the arbiter of the truth, and they're going to be controlling the single source of truth. And it's whatever they say must be true, and that's the only surviving version of the truth. And over a longer period of time, they're going to be teaching that in school, in university, in institutions. So as you grow up, it all becomes a natural fabric of the society. As kids are being brought up, they naturally learn about the only version of narrative and the only sole version of the truth. And of course, that'll be their worldview. And that's what they believe is true. And by that, the government has succeeded in brainwashing. And born and raised in China, I'm all too familiar with that. And the United States of America has always had a very special place in a lot of the people's eyes, at least in my generation. Because when we were brought up, I watched my first ever Hollywood movie was Titanic by Leonardo DiCaprio. And I just fell in love with the freedom and the culture that the U.S. represents. So the U.S. always has had a special place in the Chinese people, at least my generation's hearts. And we made jokes about the U.S. and we call it the lighthouse, right? But over the past 4 to 8 years, or if you want, you can even trace it back all the way since Obama started running for president, we've seen a slowly decline of freedom in the United States. And that's been very sad. And last year, actually, I was having this conversation with my wife that, if the US and Canada has, and by the way, I'm recording this video in the 51st state, the great state, a very powerful country, a very special country, a tremendous country, Canada, right? So I'm recording this video in Canada, and me and my wife, we were joking that if Canada and the US has slowly declined to become governments that are brainwashing people, then why don't we just go back to China? I mean, if we're gonna get brainwashed anywhere, well, we may as well just get brainwashed in our home tone, right, in our first language, instead of receiving fake news and brainwashing in English. I mean, that was a joke, but it all changed summer or August of 2024 when President-elect Donald Trump was getting assassinated, and he had the iconic moment of raising his fist with the U.S. flag behind him saying, "Fight, fight, fight." And I think that's the moment when Mark Zuckerberg, guys like Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, they have smelled that probably Trump was gonna win the election, and they have quickly sided themselves with Trump and become allies. And of course, it all started with one man, Elon Musk, right, buying Twitter, which was a huge milestone to restore freedom of speech. Let's see what Mark has to say to build on top of that.
Hey everyone, I want to talk about something important today because it's time to get back to our roots around free expression on Facebook and Instagram.
Yes.
I started building social media to give people a voice. I gave a speech at Georgetown 5 years ago about the importance of protecting free expression, and I still believe this today. But a lot has happened over the last several years.
Yes, a lot of fake news and extremely politically biased news reporting have happened in the past 4 to 8 years, to say at least. And we're hoping that guys like Elon, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg can do something about it. I'm not saying elites are always right. They do have huge impacts. So if powerful people like them can do things, can back up freedom of expression, and that's a good thing. And that's a win. That's a W for all of us, and we should take it, no matter whether you like the man or not, right? Set it aside.
There's been widespread debate about potential harms from online content. Governments and legacy media have pushed to censor more and more.
I'm actually a little bit surprised that Mark is so caught up with the trending words like legacy media. For those of my viewers who are not up to date with the trendy words, legacy media is referring to the US mainstream media outlets such as CNN, MSNBC, ABC News, who have been reporting a lot of politically biased news for the past 4 to 8 years. And that's what Mark is referring to here.
A lot of this is clearly political, but there's also a lot of legitimately bad stuff out there. Drugs, terrorism, child exploitation. These are things that we take very seriously, and I want to make sure that we handle responsibly. So we built a lot of complex systems to moderate content. But the problem with complex systems is they make mistakes. Even if they accidentally censor just 1% of posts, that's millions of people. And we've reached a point where it's just too many mistakes and too much censorship. The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards...
There you go, right there. Mark Zuckerberg officially, personally have made the statement and clarified that he saw the past election, 2024 election, as the cultural tipping point. So whether you like it or not, it is true.
Once again prioritizing speech. So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms. More specifically, here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to get rid of fact checkers and replace them with community notes similar to...
And that is featured by Twitter, by the way.
X, starting in the US. After Trump first got elected in 2016, the legacy media wrote nonstop about how misinformation was a threat to democracy.
Misinformation, by the way, is a threat to democracy, but it goes both ways. You can't just pick half of the misinformation and be like, well, this half of information, which is personal attacks on Donald Trump, that's acceptable type of misinformation, but the other type that I disagree with, that's not allowed. That's illegal, and we're gonna ban all of these posts. It's a two-way street. You can't be and you shouldn't be having double standards when it comes to, okay, I like this type of misinformation, I'm going to keep it on my platform, and this is the type of misinformation that I don't like, it doesn't fit my narrative, so I'm going to ban all of these posts. That's what I think and what I have observed has been happening over the past years. As we have approached a culture tipping point, I think this is about time that somebody do something about it.
We tried in good faith to address those concerns without becoming the arbiters of truth.
Well, you did, to be honest.
Fact checkers have just been too politically biased and have destroyed arbiters of truth. But the fact checkers have just been too politically biased.
Yes, sir. That is Mark Zuckerberg's official apology, right? Now, I mean, come on. He's not gonna just say, oh, I apologize, we did it wrong. But he's actually, whoever wrote the script for him deserves a raise, right? It's a very good, very well written speech that they just kind of sneak a lot of the things into this speech. They've woven a lot of information into this speech. Part of that is this implicit and subtle apology, basically admitting, hey, we did it wrong. But instead of saying, we, the platform, we did it wrong, they just said, oh, the fact checkers, the independent third-party fact checkers, they are too politically biased. So instead of taking the blame or accountability and responsibility. They're going to shift it onto the fact checkers. But guess what? We'll take it. We'll take it. It's a subtle and implicit, sort of indirect apology, but take it when you can.
Biased and have destroyed more trust than they've created, especially in the US.
100%.
So over the next couple of months, we're going to phase in a more comprehensive community notes system. Second, we're going to simplify our content policies and get rid of a bunch of restrictions on topics like immigration and gender that are just
immigration and gender. Can you believe that? Now it's open for discussion. It hasn't been open for discussion for many years. I myself, I am an immigrant from China to Canada. I came here legally. I did my school here. I found a job, applied, waited years, paid my taxes, contribute my fair share to the Canadian society. And that's how I got my PR approval. So I understand, and I've seen, and I have other friends who has been through the same journey, and a lot of them had a very tough time going through the journey, but they have all gone through the journey fairly and legally. That is why I ask any immigrant, legal immigrant, we all, pretty much all of us, would have a strong opinion against illegal immigration. That is not to say that we don't have empathy or we don't have conscientiousness. Well, we do, and we always believe in exceptions, and we understand there are people who are born and raised in very or extremely unfortunate situations and unprivileged situations, and we do believe in exceptions, but how many of those cases are exceptional cases? Not many of them. So most of the people should come legally to any country, not just the US, not just Canada, to any country. I mean, in my home country, China, if you try to, I challenge any of you to run across the Chinese border illegally. I challenge you. I dare you to do it. So it's the same way. Why does any country, not just the US, set up a border the same way you have a door for your home? It's because you don't want strangers on the streets to come visit your home and sleep with your wife, I'm sure. So it's the same way that country has a border. It's basically the door for the country that you can't, unless you're invited to my home, you're my friend, or you are somebody I know, I invited you to my home. Unless that's the case, you're not welcome to my home, right? Basic common sense. I think it's about time that we get back to the roots of common sense. And by the way, there has been this trend of anti-common sense in the elite circle, right? It's always like, oh, you think this is common sense, but let the elites, the smart people tell you, the Hollywood people, the celebrities, or the famous people tell you what really is true, and they're gonna go complete opposite with the common sense. So you think something that's illegal is bad, right? You think, well, something that's illegal, that has to be a crime, right? That has to be bad, that's illegal, right? But they're gonna tell you, no, actually that's a good thing somehow. But I think 2025 is the year where the world is turning on a new page. And let's get back to the roots of common sense. I think it's nothing but tradition. The words common sense and tradition should no longer be treated or be viewed in a negative light, right? Tradition and common sense carries the collective wisdom of the entire world. I mean, there's a reason why billions of people across hundreds, if not thousands of years have thought and viewed things this way. And that collective wisdom is what has become tradition and common sense. And I don't think just a bunch of Hollywood celebrities are qualified to just overthrow this whole collective wisdom of generations of much wiser and smarter people. But anyways, let's get back to the clip here and see what Mark further has to say.
It's like immigration and gender that are just out of touch with mainstream discourse.
Yes.
What started as a movement to be more inclusive
They're very out of touch.
has increasingly been used to shut down opinions and shut out people with different ideas, and it's gone too far. So I want to make sure that people can share their beliefs and experiences on our platforms.
I'm glad he's saying it. I mean, different beliefs and experiences are both valid. You can't be like having double standard and only one side is valid and the other side is just hate speech. Nobody is qualified to judge and make a decision on what qualifies as hate speech, what doesn't qualify as hate speech. Basically, in the past couple years, it's whatever I disagree with, whatever I don't like is hate speech. And I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's the founding principle of freedom of expression, freedom of speech. And I think that goes against the freedom, which is the core value that made the Western civilization so great and so amazing. And I think if there is one thing that the entire human civilization can agree on, that would be that freedom is a good thing. Okay, let's get back to the clip.
Third, we're changing how we enforce our policies to reduce the mistakes that account for the vast majority of censorship on our platforms. We used to have filters that scanned for any policy violation. Now, we're going to focus those filters on tackling illegal and high-severity violations. And for lower severity violations, we're going to rely on someone reporting an issue before we take action. The problem is that the filters make mistakes, and they take down a lot of content that they shouldn't. So by dialing them back, we're going to dramatically reduce the amount of censorship on our platforms. We're also going to tune our content filters to require much higher confidence before taking down content. The reality is that this is a trade-off. It means we're going to catch...
I actually appreciate that whoever wrote the speech for Mark has the honesty to really tackle this head on and admit basically there's a trade-off, that if you want more filter, more censorship, then we're gonna catch a lot of the things, but also we're gonna catch a lot of innocent people. We're gonna delete and remove and ban a lot of the innocent posts and innocent accounts. But if you go the other direction, which is to reduce censorship and reduce filters, then actually there's gonna be the trade-off, meaning that they're going to catch less of the bad stuff and would have to rely on all of the users to report a lot of the inappropriate contents, which I believe is a fair trade-off, and I think it's common sense that's acceptable. That should be what most people want.
Less bad stuff, but will also reduce the number of innocent people's posts and accounts that we accidentally take down. Fourth, we're bringing back...
But there's a slight dishonesty there that he mentioned, we accidentally took down. I think there was no accident. You see how subtle it is that they try to sneak in those subtle words like, we accidentally took down. No, you intentionally took down, but to be fair, we all knew what happened. But this is the W. We will take it when we can, and let's just turn on the new page.
Civic content. For a while, the community asked to see less politics because it was making people stressed. So we stopped recommending these.
No, not really. It's not the people don't want less politics. People want less politics that they disagree with, right? People want more politics that they can agree with. So it's not about people want more or less politics. It's more about people want more stuff that they can agree with, whatever that may be. Politics, the videos they like, the celebrities they like, the movies they like, the music that they enjoy, and they want less of the stuff that they disagree with, where they dislike.
Posts. But it feels like we're in a new era now, and we're starting to get feedback that people want to see this content again. So we're going to start phasing this back into Facebook, Instagram, and Threads while working to keep the communities friendly and positive. Fifth, we're going to move our trust and safety and content moderation teams out of...
That's a huge deal that they're going to move it out of California. And, we can all guess it, right? Where are they going to move it to?
California. And our US-based content review is going to be based in Texas.
There you go. We can talk about this later on. Well, let's talk about that right now. A lot of people are like, Mark Zuckerberg is doing the all for culture and freedom of speech. I think this whole video is about a business decision. You know what filter and censorship and fact checking, you know what it means for guys like Mark, and you know what it means for his company such as Instagram for the business, for Facebook business. It means cost. It means work. All right? And they have been incurring basically more censorship, more filter, more taking down posts, removing, banning people. It means more work. It means more cost for them. You think they want it? I don't think they want it. But the thing is, these guys are business guys. So there are like presidents and foreign, domestic and foreign governments, right? The chairmen of China, the European Union secretaries, the US presidents, the White House calling them, the Canada Prime Minister, right? The King of England calling them, hey, we don't like those type of stuff, take it down. They have been getting pressure from all of the political entities, especially powerful governments around the world, that they have to do something about the content. So they kind of have to incur those costs, but you think they want it? They don't. And just accidentally, unfortunately, depending on which side of the political spectrum you're on, well, the fact of the matter is that Donald Trump got elected again as the president. Well, that's good news for guys like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg, because now is the golden opportunity for them to disguise the cost cutting under freedom of speech. What a perfect disguise, which is just, hey, you know what? I'm doing this all for the culture. Doing what? Reducing filters, reducing fact checkers, reducing costs, moving out of California where taxes are high, people's salaries are high. We're going to move it out of that expensive place and put our business operations into a much cheaper place. Meaning we're going to save a lot of money, save a lot of taxes. We're going to get probably President Trump's preferential tax benefits, and they're just going to make a lot of money out of it. But you know what? This benefits everyone, so let this man make some money. And I don't blame him for making such a business decision. I don't blame the man for being a hypocrite, for subtly spinning and twisting the narrative. But if you're smart enough, you can tell. But it doesn't matter. What matters at the end of the day is that whatever Mark is doing benefits all of us. So we all won. We get more freedom. We get more freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and freedom of thinking. And Mark gets to make a lot of money. I mean, is that a fair trade? I don't know, but hey, at least we all won. It's better than having all of our accounts got banned, right? So take it when you can.
As we work to promote free expression, I think that it will help us build trust to do this work in places where there is less concern about the bias of our teams. Finally, we're going to work with press concern about the...
He has admitted that there's a lot of concern about the bias of their teams, and it's not just concern. I believe it is true. But anyways, things are changing. That's good.
Bias of our teams. Finally, we're going to work with President Trump to push back on governments around the world that are going after America.
Look at that. Just like I said, it's a perfect narrative spin that he's going to, we're going to work with President Trump against the foreign governments. They've been trying to put in pressure on us and trying to force it on us. We didn't want to do it. We are the good guys. We didn't want it. We didn't want censorship. We were the good guys. It's the foreign government. Those are the bad guys. And we're just powerless. We're just helpless. We couldn't do anything. And President Trump now is the hero with the cape, helping, saving all of our business. And now me, I'm good guy, can get back to doing good things for all of you guys again. That's perfect narrative spin. Whoever wrote the speech for Mark deserves a raise. Or maybe it's ChatGPT wrote it for him, in which case that'll be free.
American companies and pushing to censor more. The US has the strongest constitutional protections for free expression in the world. Europe has an ever-increasing number of laws institutionalizing censorship and making it difficult to build anything innovative there. Latin American countries have secret courts that can order companies to
Is he gonna mention China? Let's see.
quietly take things down. China has censored our apps from even working in the country. The only way that we can push back on this global trend is with the support of the US government. And that's why it's been so difficult.
Look at that. He just legitimized his collaboration with President-elect Trump, right? That's a perfect way of just easing into, I'm not bowing down to this Donald Trump guy. I'm just working with the US president. I'm just working with the US government, my domestic government, against the foreign bad guys. We are the good guys, right? Perfect narrative spin. But anyways, it's beneficial to all of us, so let's take it when we can.
Over the past 4 years, when even the US government has pushed for censorship.
Look at that. That's a knock. That's a direct, clear knock on the Biden administration for putting pressure on Meta.
Going after us and other American companies, it has emboldened other governments to go even further. But now we have the opportunity to restore free expression, and I am excited to take it. It'll take time to get this right, and these are complex systems. They're never going to be perfect. There's also a lot of illegal stuff that we still need to work very hard to remove. But the bottom line is that after years of having our content moderation work focus primarily on removing content, it is time to focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our systems, and getting back to our roots about giving people voice. I'm looking forward to this next chapter. Stay good out there, and more to come soon.
Well, a lot of people are saying, well, now Mark is their third favorite person on internet, right after number one, your favorite 45th and soon to be 47th president. I'm gonna totally take over Greenland and Canada to become the 51st state, and make America great again. Right, your president-elect Trump. For a lot of people, that's their number one favorite, and Elon Musk, right, Elon, the Iron Man himself being number two, and Mark Zuckerberg for bringing back freedom of speech, being number three on their list. Is that right? Is that wrong? I don't know. You can leave a comment in the comment section. If you like the video and think this is helpful, it's good analysis, then leave a like. If you dislike the video, then let me know in the comment section what you disagree with, and share this with your friends. Let them know that the freedom of speech is back. All right, together to the top. Until next time.